This video is dedicated to the LGBTQ, the young Albertans who struggle daily to survive in this too often brutal world. Our ancestors came to Alberta with little or no capital to build a future. They were pioneers, many needing help to get established. Neighbor helped neighbor. The advantaged helped those less so. No one was thrown under the bus as they built Alberta. Today, there is one group of Alberta students at risk of being thrown under the bus. That group is the LGBTQ youth of Alberta. Jason Kenney, it appears, wants to throw these young students under the bus to gain the support of a small group. He wants to do this by changing the School Act and taking away the safety features of the present Act. Under the present Alberta School Act, these students have support through GSAs. At present, GSAs are protected, but if Jason Kenney gets control, the outlook is bleak. The GSA's purpose: provide a safe haven for LGBTQ students where there is no fear of bullying, teasing, or being made to feel inferior. GSAs, Gay-Straight Alliances, are school support groups created in school by students for students. Under the present law, school principals are required to allow the setup of GSAs upon request by students in a timely manner, allocate an appropriate space for the GSA to be held, and assign a teacher to supervise. Neither teachers nor principal are permitted to out students to their parents without student permission. The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, somewhat abridged. The Charter states, "We are all equal. We all have the right to protection of and benefit of the law without discrimination based on race, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, sex, age, or mental or physical disability." It also states, "These rights are not absolute and do not rule out any law, program, or activity that has been created to make better conditions of disadvantaged individuals or groups, including those that are disadvantaged because of race, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, sex, age, or mental or physical disability." The Charter includes freedom of conscience and religion, which makes clear you have the right to practice your choice of religion without interference, unless it interferes with the rights of others or is a health or safety concern. Of major concern is Jason Kenney's education policy. He appears intent on undoing the protective features of the GSA, and in doing so, he appears to be trying to confuse us. Instead of using freedom of religion, charter wording, he apparently wants the term religious freedoms, not charter wording, and which suggests that laws of religious organizations are protected by the charter, which may not be true if any of them interferes with the rights of others. Jason Kenney and his supporters would like to A. repeal the present Education Act, and B. revert to a 7-year-old, previously tabled but not enacted law. His version of the Education Act has flaws and would leave vulnerable a disadvantaged group of our youth, the LGBTQ students. Jason Kenney's education policy does not require that GSAs be created upon request and in a timely manner. It allows principals, if they choose, to drag their feet and possibly never create the GSA. Also allows principals and teachers to out students to their parents without the students' consent. appears to apply to public schools only. Seems private schools aren't required to abide by the charter. The word discrimination immediately jumps to mind, and in any event throws more vulnerable children under the bus. If you support Jason Kenney's version of the Education Act, you are throwing these students under the bus. They do not deserve it. In 2009, the first Canadian National Research Report was published that looked at homophobia and transphobia in Canadian schools. It showed overwhelmingly that schools are indeed unsafe spaces for LGBTQ youth, and in particular, transgender youth. I believe that Jason Kenney, like too many adults, is ignoring this report's information and creating his own theories. His premise is principals, schools, teachers, and parents are far more able than government to make decisions about their students. Unfortunately, unlike the majority, all too many are not able to or do not want to make decisions with the welfare of their children in mind. Far too many families and schools require assistance and, indeed, regulation to guide them towards making better choices for the health and safety of their students. Perhaps it is the Dunning-Kruger effect that rules here, that the less some people really know, the more they think they know, and the more they push their ideas with a moral superiority, truthful or not. If all Alberta schools and school boards were supportive and had only the best wishes and practices for the safety, health, and well-being of their students, why is it that a great number of LGBTQ students miss school intentionally because they don't feel safe there? 75% of LGB students and 95% of transgender students feel unsafe at school. While heterosexual students look to teachers and coaches as individuals of support, most LGBTQ students do not. If all Alberta schools respected the rights of all Alberta citizens, why is it we have seen individuals fired by school boards for being LGBTQ? Something that is private and of no business of the school board or school in which they work. If all parents were wise, knowledgeable, with the best interests of their children in mind, we would not have a new rise of old diseases due to refusal to vaccinate, children who have died because of ineffectual holistic healing methods, children sent to have conversion therapies applied to them. Note, virtually all leading health organizations have denounced these therapies due to the extreme physical and mental health risks they subject children to. If all parents and families were loving, supportive, and protective of their children, why is it that 1 in 5 LGBTQ children feel comfortable talking to their parents about their state of being? An extremely high percentage of our homeless youth identify as LGBTQ. It's time to act. These young ladies and gentlemen are part of our future. They have much to offer our society if we allow them the time and safety to do so. Do not let the fear of some crush them. Let your Alberta spirit and compassion shine through. Do your part to stop the persecution of these young people. Do not support Jason Kenney's education policy. Use the number below to contact Jason Kenney or the UCP and let your feelings be felt. If not the number, use the link to text them. It is time to act. Don't support this flawed policy. Call this number or email this link and let Jason Kenney know he's wrong.